In this episode, we're going to go through the basics of Splunk, which is the industry standard for security information and event management. My name is Hank Hackerson, your trainer for today. And to get more videos like this one, I would like for you to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. This video is a part of the new SOC Level 1 training series that is for 2025 and 2026. This is all replacing the legacy version of SOC Level 1, which is a legacy version inside of TryHackMe, which is what you're looking at right here, and also inside of our playlist inside of the channel right here. So this is all meant to replace all of the older stuff because there's been a lot of updates to the industry at large, as well as just security posture and the ecosystem of security. And so Splunk is the tool that is used by many enterprises, including banks and government entities and all these different places, because it is literally the industry standard when it comes down to SIM tools. So we're going to get an introduction to it. There are a lot of different videos that exist on this channel already for using Splunk, and most of those videos I think are going to be updated as well. So this is just the second go around when we go through all of these things. So this is a part of the new SOC Level 1 training series, and we're inside of the core SOC solutions module inside of the SOC Level 1 training series, and it's going to be Splunk right now. And then after this one, we're going to talk about Elastic, which is part of the Elk Stack, the Elastic Stack series of SIM tools, and that is an open source tool. So we're going to look at Enterprise, and then we're going to look at the open source version of it as well. So we have the introduction, as always, connecting with the actual lab. So we have a virtual machine that we're going to connect to, the various components of Splunk, navigating Splunk, adding data to Splunk, and there's going to be a conclusion, and there will be questions that we'll have to answer along the way. And if you need to navigate or skip to any of these specific portions, there's timestamps in the description below that you can use to get to those individual portions. And that is pretty much it. So I'm going to get these virtual machines launched and started. You're going to get a quick little note from Hackaholics Anonymous, and then we're going to dive into the introduction. If you want access to my notes and exclusive downloads and to get lifetime access to me on Discord, consider joining Hackaholics Anonymous. We have 4 tiers. We have the supporter, the agent, the guardian, and the master. Each tier gets their own Discord server and early access to content. The agent, guardian, and master levels get exclusive content, exclusive downloads, monthly Python automations, live streams with me every single month, plus so much more. And to join, you can simply click the link in the description below, and you will be able to choose the tier for which you want to join. I really hope I see you in the Discord chats. If not, I hope I see you in the comment section. All right, while our machines load, let's just go through the intro real quick. So Splunk is one of the leading solutions in the market as far as security information and event management is concerned. It allows us to do all the things we talked about in the last video, which is the introduction to SIM video. So things like collecting data, analyzing data, correlating data, parsing through data, normalizing data, all of those things. So we're going to be talking about those various functionalities and how it provides better visibility of network activities and helps to speed up detection and investigation and even digital forensics after things are said and done and we're trying to figure out what just happened, right? So the various objectives that we have today are to understand the components of Splunk, explore some available options in Splunk, understand log ingestion in Splunk, practically ingest some logs in Splunk and actually analyze them. Practically meaning we're actually going to do the exercise. It's going to be a practical simulated type of an exercise. So it's going to be cool. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to learn a lot with it. If you have not done so already, watch the last video, which is the introduction to SIM video, because all the core concepts, all the foundational stuff that we're going to be doing in this video are covered in that. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time explaining all those things because there was an entire video that was dedicated to it. So yeah, go watch that if you haven't watched it already. All right, so let's continue and connect with our lab real quick. All right, our lab entities are up. So our virtual machine for Splunk is up, and so is our attack box that is inside of TryHackMe. There's a blue button up here that says Start Attack Box, and I'm super zoomed in, but when you click on it, it opens it up in the sidebar, and while that loads, basically, we can go through everything else. So we have an IP address assigned to our Splunk instance, and that's what happens when you launch Splunk or when you set up Splunk. The main server of Splunk gets its own IP address, and data either gets forwarded to this IP address or you upload files via log items themselves. So essentially, that's what it's going to look like in the real world as well. You'll have the IP address of the machine itself, which in this case is going to be, let's say, our attack box, right? This gets its own IP address, and then you have the IP address of the Splunk server, and things get forwarded to the IP address of the Splunk server through either agents or port forwarding or something like that. And that's actually what we're going to talk about right now. So we have the components of Splunk. So we have the forwarder, the indexer, and the search head. The indexer. My accent sometimes kicks in right now. Okay, so all right, so let's talk about the Splunk forwarder. So this is an agent, basically, that's installed on the endpoint that's intended to be monitored, and its main task is to collect data and send it to Splunk. So the endpoint would be a computer, it could be a cell phone, it could be a laptop, it could be a web server, it could be a data server, whatever, right? So whatever the endpoint is that we're trying to monitor, we install the agent on that endpoint, and then it forwards data to the Splunk instance, our main Splunk server. It doesn't affect the endpoint's performance because it just takes a few little resources. It doesn't take up much RAM or anything like that to process. It's just that it forwards data to us, right? So some of these data sources could be web servers generating traffic, Windows machine generating Windows event logs, PowerShell and Sysmon data, Linux host generating host-centric logs, database generating database connection request responses, etc. All of these things are endpoints. These are basically just endpoints. They're just fancy ways of saying we have different types of endpoints that we can use, and we're forwarding the data from these various endpoints to our Splunk instance, which is this thing right here. So this is a Linux logo, that's a Windows logo, that's an internet logo, the World Wide Web. This is a database logo, and then that's a Macintosh logo. So we have 5 different endpoints sending data to Splunk. That's basically what it is. Now, what happens when the data is received by Splunk? It gets parsed and sorted, processed by the indexer, okay? The indexer processes the data that it receives from those endpoints, from those forwarders. It parses and normalizes the data into field value pairs, categorizes it, and stores the results as events, making the processed data easy to search and analyze. So now that we actually have it and it's been normalized and stored by the indexer, we can now search for it using the search head, which is basically a search bar, as long as you know how to communicate with Splunk using its query language. So it's called the SPL, the search processing language, and it's basically field value pairs, right? So, or we call it key value pairs, field value pairs. So in this case, the index itself is the field or the key, and the value is main. Now, the same way we could say event ID equals 4688. We could say, field name, not field name, that's not a good one. There was something else that we were talking about, database name or user ID. That's a really good one. User ID equals somebody's name. Source IP equals the source IP. The destination IP equals the destination IP. So that's kind of what it looks like, right? And then you can combine those things together. You can say index equals main and source IP equals and source port equals 80 and user ID equals etc. So you can combine a bunch of different things, and every time that you add and, it keeps fine-tuning and narrowing down more and more and more. And then you could say index equals main and then you do parentheses, and I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but inside of parentheses you can do or statement. So you could say index equals main and then inside of parentheses, you could say source IP equals this or source IP equals that, and then close the parentheses. So it'll search for either one of those source IPs inside of the main index, right? Very, very simple stuff. Or, theoretically it's simple, but you should learn the language so you can kind of search through things easier. There are a lot of different ways to search through things, and we'll talk about all of those things as soon as I pull it up. Just kind of, this is like an intro to stuff, so don't freak out, okay? I promise it's going to make sense when we actually get into Splunk. The search head also allows us to perform or transform results into presentable tables and visualizations like pie bars or pie charts, bar charts, column charts, shown below. So this is the various types of visualizations. And okay, that's it. That's pretty much what we have for the intro right here. So I'm just going to kind of real quick load it, or actually we'll wait until we get to navigating Splunk and then we'll load it. Which component is used to collect and send data? That would be our forwarder. So let me wake my keyboard back up here. There we go. So forwarder. All right. So now we can navigate Splunk. In order to navigate Splunk, it's done through a web browser for the most part. So this is what it looks like when we do a split screen of the attack box here. So I'm going to click this little button down here to open it up in full screen, because this just is ridiculous and we won't be able to do that. So when we go into full screen, and oh my God, it's already zoomed in. It's usually not zoomed in like this. So I think I have to zoom out of this situation to make this also zoom out. Okay, there we go. All right, that's a little bit better. Okay, so we're zoomed out here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go to our web browser, and then we're going to pull up this domain or this IP address, which is where our Splunk server is going to sit. And so, once the web browser actually opens, we'll just navigate to that IP address, and it will be presented with this screen. This is the very main dashboard that you'll end up seeing, and on the left hand side you'll get a couple of options. On the center you'll get some of these main options for your data sources, right? So when we have this, here we go, nicely done. So let's go here and paste and go to our IP address right here, and so we will have our Splunk server here. I'm still super zoomed in, so I'm at 110%. So why is this? Okay, there we go. That should be a little bit better. So it loads. It shouldn't ask for me. It shouldn't ask me for a login ID or password or anything like that, because I'm connected to the TryHackMe VPN, or I'm connected to the TryHackMe server through their browser, which is the attack box. But you can also access it directly through the VPN using OpenVPN. So as long as you're connected to it that way, it's not going to ask you for a login. There we go. So this is what it looks like. Okay. So this is basically what it is. Now, if you've already connected things to it, and if you've already have a source of data, you don't need to click any of these things. You can just click on search and reporting, and it'll take you to that search index, or the search head is what it was referencing. So when we do that, it'll actually allow us to start searching for data. Okay, so before we do that, there's the top bar that you see right here, these things right here. So we have messages, we have 3 messages pending. So store change to status failed, whatever, failed to start KV store, and KV store process terminated abnormally. Okay, none of those things are relevant to me. I'm just going to close these things. We have the settings, we have activity, and then help. Through these settings is where we can actually go to the monitoring console, and we can actually set up a variety of different elements that we would want to monitor, and the various data points that we are receiving, and the amount of indexing rate itself, so kilobytes per second, the sources of data that are coming in, etc., etc. Right here, it also says the version of Splunk that we're using, the Linux physical memory computer that's actually connected to, standalone, right? So we have forwarders here. So forwarders instance and deployment. We have resource usage. We have search available here, indexing available. All these things will take you to various situations, or various pages, I should say, that will allow you to set this up. This is beyond the scope of this video. So we're not going to do any of that stuff, right? So we can just talk about the fact that we have the messages, the settings, activity, help, and find, which is the very, very top menu. Settings, configure Splunk instance settings, which is specifically what we are in right here. So you have app data and monitoring console, which is what we're on the left-hand side right here. App data, under data, you can see data inputs, forwarding and receiving, indexes. All of these things is where you would actually set up your types of sources and a variety of different data endpoints, or inputs, excuse me. And then you have knowledge bases on how to use Splunk, essentially the system itself and the server settings itself, distributed environments, if you wanted to do a cluster of indexes, forwarding, managing all of your forwarders, and then of course users and tokens and things like that. So all of this stuff can be set up and very finely tuned. So all of that is available to you. When you click on the Splunk logo on the top left-hand side, it brings you back to this main menu. and then we can click on search and reporting, which is what you see right here. And this is the default app for Splunk that actually allows us to start searching. Going through the various elements right here to upload data would be something different as well that you could do. And you can even start with default dashboards. So home dashboard, by default, no dashboards are displayed. You can choose from a range of dashboards readily available within Splunk, and you can select the dashboard from the drop-down menu or by visiting dashboards listing page. So I'm right here. This is what happens when you click on the search, right? Search and reporting. And then there's a dashboard button right there on search and reporting. And then I have certain dashboards that are down here. Integrity check of files, job details, jQuery, and then it'll just open up these various dashboards for me, right? And so this is assigned to nobody. I don't know if the username is nobody or it's actually assigned to nobody. But if I click on integrity check, for example, it'll load a specific dashboard. It says it's enabled. This is just the integrity check of the installed files for the Splunk instance that we're in. So there's no specific dashboard that's been created for the data that we're monitoring. So that piece of it is currently not set up because we literally have a brand new Splunk instance. But assuming that you actually set up something, then you can go ahead and start doing a variety of different things, right? So search history will show you the previous searches that have actually been executed on this instance. And there is a bunch of previous sources because I think previous users maybe have actually used this. So the last time they used this instance was October of 2022. So it's been a while. I'm in November of 2025. Actually, I'm in December of 2025. No, November 30th. Holy cow, dude. December is tomorrow. That's gnarly. Oh my gosh. Okay. So you can actually pick and choose from these indices or from these searches. You can actually click on any of these and it'll load it into this search filter at the very top right here. And it'll actually load data for you. So for example, I will do index equals asterisk, which is basically anything, right? I want you to show me any index that you have, right? If I do that, currently it says nothing because my timestamp on the right-hand side is assigned to last 24 hours. So I can actually just click on all time, and then this should generate something. So we'll do all time, and then we'll do search, and then it says no event sampling. Okay. I guess there's no event logs or there's no index items that we have that exist here. So that might be interesting. So what if we do index equals Windows event logs or Win event logs? What was the other search? Am I even supposed to be doing this? I feel like I'm kind of going way far ahead here. Am I not even supposed to need to do that here? There is no dashboard button in the center, as you can see right here in this little GIF or GIF, whatever you want to call it. On their homepage, they actually have a choose a home dashboard, and they have a bunch of stuff. I didn't even have choose a home dashboard, so that doesn't even apply to us. And I think I definitely jumped way too far ahead to try to find a bunch of different things because there's nothing that was available for events for us. So yeah, I may have kind of gone off the rail there and down a completely different rabbit hole. So right here it says you can create dashboards and add them to your home dashboard. The dashboards you create can be viewed separately from the other dashboards by clicking on the Yours tab. And again, that's not available to us, but presumably that does exist and we can do that. Please review the Splunk documentation on navigating the Splunk here. So we would end up going to Splunk website, docs.splunk.com. And Splunk is a Cisco company. Okay, fantastic. Very good. So you get a bunch of stuff that you get to do with documentation of how to use Splunk in case you ever want to go that way. So in the Add Data tab, here's a question, right? Question down here. In the Add Data tab, which option is used to collect data from files and ports? So right here, Add Data tab, which option is used to collect from files and ports? So if we go here, and if I click on Add Data, so let's see what is used to collect from files and ports. So we have it right here, and it's right down there where it says files and ports on the Splunk platform instance, and the option is monitor. So we're going to type out monitor, press enter, and voila, There we go. So I guess we get to actually download some task files and use them to analyze data right here. So I got to download these task files. Hopefully I can transfer them to the Splunk instance somehow. Let's see what we can do. Okay, to add data, it can ingest anything. Splunk is a great ingestor, so it can ingest anything. And according to documentation, when data is added to Splunk, the data is processed and transformed into a series of individual events. And the data sources can be event logs, website logs, firewall logs, etc., etc. So the data sources are grouped into categories. And this is what it looks like based on the Splunk documentation. So you have files and directories, network events, IT ops, cloud services, database, security, virtualization, application services, Windows sources, and other sources. So it's like everything else that is not inside of these categories. And these are very inclusive. So this is like a wide variety of categories. So for example, if you do Windows sources, accepts a wide range of Windows-specific inputs, including the event log, registry, WMI, Active Directory, performance monitoring. If you want to do MySQL, that would be under database. If you want to do cloud, it would be like, for example, AWS or Kinesis or Google Cloud or Microsoft or something like that. So there's so many things, right? There's network, obviously network stuff. So there's so many different sources of data. So you kind of try to pick the category of data that it would fall into so that Splunk knows how to parse it and how to organize it for you. So we're going to focus on VPN logs. And when we go to the add data screen, this is what we see right here. So if I go and, oh my God, I'm super zoomed in again. So I'm just going to read through it first because I don't want to keep zooming out and zooming back in. So if we click on add data, it says, what do you want to send to the Splunk platform? So cloud, network, operating system, security, and then upload, monitor, and forward. We kind of already saw that. So we're going to click on upload and upload data from the local machine. So the VPN logs is what this does. And this is if I was using my own computer and connecting to the Splunk instance through OpenVPN. But since I'm using the attack box and it's already inside of their network, I'm just going to go to this location, which is the root rooms Splunk basics, and I should be able to find those VPN logs there, and we can just upload them directly that way. And then to upload the data successfully, you must follow 5 steps. So select the source, choose the log file and data source, select source type and what type of log is being ingested, JSON or syslog. Input settings, select the index where these logs will be dumped and the host name to be associated with the logs. Review all the configurations and complete the upload. So this is what we see right here, right? So we're going to wait for this to actually go into the whole review of it from the beginning. The guy is having problems typing here, whoever this person was. And then they need to do all of this stuff. My goodness, how do I reset this for it to happen quickly? This is taking too long. He's doing this so slowly. Good Lord. Okay, you know what? This is what we're going to do. We're actually going to zoom out now. And we're going to go ahead and upload the data ourselves instead of having to wait for that whole shenanigan. So I'm going to go to upload here and I'm going to go find the upload file that I want. So I'm going to click on select file and then it's going to be in root and then it's going to be in rooms and then it's going to be under Splunk basic and vpnlogs.json. So there we go. Open that. Wonderful. And so we're good. So we click next here. Source type JSON is already filled in for me right here. So I don't really need to do anything with this because it's already chosen as JSON. Let's see if this guy did anything with it. So select source, he uploaded it. Source type is already JSON. So what is it? Application, data, email, go to meetings. What is he doing? Network, operating system, structured, JSON, no timestamp. So, okay, leave it at J. That's literally, bro, what are you doing? I guess he was trying to show us all the different options. And then so we're going to go ahead and do our host field value. So I'm just going to say VPN logs, whatever. And then we're going to go to, he had a default index, the new index. So index name is we're going to change, create a new index. It's going to be called VPN, not BPN, VPN. And that was it. So there we go. Oh, I see. And then so I save it and then go here and drop it down and choose VPN as my index name. Fantastic. And that's it, right? Review. Review's done. Submit. And we're done. Start searching. And let's see if this actually works. Okay, great. Look at that. Source VPN logs. Now we have 2,812 events. Fantastic. Host is VPN logs. Index is VPN. Source type is JSON. I don't know if I need all of this stuff, right? So I'm going to mess around with this a little bit. It is left on all time, so that's nice. So if I do index VPN and get rid of that, and then I go and get rid of all of this stuff and just press enter here, we should still get 2,862 events because everything's being pulled from our VPN index, and the VPN index has that JSON file attached to it. So all of that stuff should be fine. Okay, so now upload the attached data to this and create an index called VPN logs. How many events are present in this log file? So we have 2,862 events. So 2862, and there we go. How many log events are captured by the user Melina? So this is where things get really fun and interesting. So the power of a SIM tool is where all of this really starts coming in. So the fields that you see on the left-hand side, this is what a SIM does, right? So it parses through all the data, it normalizes the data, and it attaches fields or keys, and then each one of these fields has values. So for example, there's a username field. So if I click on that, now we get to see all the usernames, and these are the top 10 usernames according to the number of events that have been associated with that username. So what did I just do? My God, I'm super zoomed out. Let's click on that and fix it. Okay, great. Thank you so much. I had no idea how I did that. Okay, all right. So they're asking for the username Melina. So it says how many events are 60 assigned to Melina, captured by Melina. Now, what is the username associated with IP address 107.114.182.38? 107.114.182.38. So now we go over here and we can pull IP addresses on the left-hand side right here. So what do we have? We have source IP. That could be it, right? And 107.114.182.38. It's not on my top 10 list. So here's what I can do. I don't know if it's source or destination IP that I'm supposed to be looking at. There is nothing called destination IP. So I'm just going to do source IP. So here's what we can do, right? I click on one of them. And then at the top right here, we can see that our search field has actually changed. So source IP in this case is the field or the key, and then the value is this. So I can just replace that value with this IP address. That's what I'm looking for. And then I will delete that and I will paste in here. There we go, and press enter. And now we have 26 events associated with that source. Now it says, what's the username associated with that? So let's go down here. Username is Smith. And then we scroll down some more. And this one is also Smith. And this one is also Smith. So, okay, all right. We can confidently say Smith is the username. Great. What is the number of events that originated from all countries except France? Okay, fantastic. This is actually really cool. So there are a few different ways that we can do this, okay? There are filters that we can put on this thing. So first I'm going to go ahead and delete the source IP. We're just going to go back to our 2800 events here. And there are ways that we can actually add filters to this. I need to find the filter button because I remember how to do it with Elastic, but there should be also a way that we can do it here. I mean, I'm certain that there's a way that we can do it here. So let's try to find out how we can add a filter. Okay, so I think I was thinking about Elastic, but we can actually just create a query for it because I couldn't find a filter button. I may not have searched deep enough, but it doesn't really matter. So this is what we can do, okay? So source country, if we click on it, we can see a bunch of different source countries that are here. And so I can actually do, France being the source country. Now we're looking for everything that is not France, right? Because it says number of events that originated from all countries except France. So one of the key things that happens a lot of times in coding in general is that if you want to say it does not equal to something, then you put just an exclamation mark in front of it. So source country does not equal France is exclamation mark equal sign, and then you give it France. So I press enter, and now we have 2,814 that is not France related. So every other country, right? So if we actually go down here now, the source countries, instead of being 7 countries, it's now 6 countries, and we see everybody except France. So very, very simple stuff. I was trying to find a filter because there are ways that you can actually create filters on Elastic, and we'll review them when we get there to that video. But right now, that's basically it. So it does not equal France. That's it. You just do that. And so what's the number? 2814. So there we go. 2814. And there we go. So now how many VPN events were associated with the IP address 107.3.206.58? So finally, we're going to do that. So go back here. And again, we're just going to delete this, and we're going to look for source underscore IP equals, and then paste the IP, press enter, and it's 14 events associated with that IP. And that's it. How easy was that? Isn't that cool? Like this is why we love these freaking tools so much. They make life so much easier to look for things. And obviously, it just gets more sophisticated and complicated when you have complex events, but the functionality is pretty much the same. So really, honestly, what it comes down to is just practice, okay? And so these are all the various rooms that are available on TryHackMe should you choose to mess around with Splunk a little bit more. And if you actually have a membership to TryHackMe, which I highly encourage. I encourage everybody to have a membership to TryHackMe. In the holiday season, it's always there's some kind of a discount either for, Digital Monday or Cyber Monday or Black Friday or Christmas or whatever. There's always going to be discounts. So by the time that you see this, there should still be some kind of a discount rolling around. And so Splunk Exploring SPL, which is their language, the query language, incident handling with Splunk, investigating with Splunk. This is an actual challenge, and this is another challenge. So all of these things are really, really helpful. I think all of them actually I've created videos for. So if you do go through them, and if you kind of hit a wall and you need help with it, all of that stuff is available to you, and you can always just go ahead and mess around with it. So this is actually something that I encourage everybody to do. I'm going to close this out, and I'm going to basically break down all the virtual machines that we've used today. But that's pretty much it. And hopefully you saw how intuitive it kind of is and how easy it is to set this whole thing up and to go through it and, upload data and sift and sort through data. Super, super easy to use. These things make our lives very, very easy. And I highly encourage you to familiarize yourself with these things if you're interested in being a security analyst or working in a security operations center. These are the types of tools that you're going to end up using. And a lot of people have those questions for me, and they say, what should I do? What skill do I need to learn? And this is it. Like, this is the skill you need to learn. This is one of the big skills. And to demonstrate that you know how to do these things is kind of the key thing that they're interested in your resume. So just kind of my humble opinion on it. And if you're interested in actually doing it, that's probably the best way that you can do it. So, excuse me. That is our conclusion for today. I'm going to click this final check button. We're going to break down these machines right here, and we are going to wrap it up. If you found value in this video, and if you'd like to get more videos like this one, then I encourage you to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so that you get notified the next time that a video comes out on this channel. And as it stands right now, we have 3 playlists that are building out. So we have the AI for cybersecurity, we have SOC level 1, the new one, not the legacy one, the 2025-2026, which is what we're in right now. And then we have offensive pen testing / CompTIA Pentest Plus. Those things are actually being built out right now. The most volume that's coming out is for the SOC level 1 training series because it's very, very quick. I get to create those really easily and make sure that people have them, but there is still other ones that I am still working on. I promise you it's not something that has fallen off or I've forgotten about. And then there's all the stuff that people are requesting in the comment section that I want to also make sure that I build out and make sure people have access to. So the very next thing that's coming from the comment section is to create labs for pen testing. So I want to make sure that people actually have access to that information and they can create their own labs. If they don't want to get into TryHackMe or anything like that, they should be able to access those things and still be able to run the exercises. So creating the labs and then going and actually going ahead and doing the rest of the exercises. That's basically what we're going to be doing for the Pentest Plus. And in AI for cybersecurity, we're going to be moving closer to the integrations between the API endpoints as well as the AI tools themselves and a variety of things, and no code AI tools and platforms like Make and N8N or something like that. So all of these things is stuff that's going to be coming out, and I'm very, very excited about all of them, and I hope you are too. So if you haven't done so already, drop a comment in the comment section below, ask a question, or just say hi, whatever it is that you want to do. And then just make sure that you like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. And of course, check out Hackaholics Anonymous. If you want access to my notes and exclusive downloads and to get lifetime access to me on Discord, consider joining Hackaholics Anonymous. We have 4 tiers. We have the supporter, the agent, the guardian, and the master. Each tier gets their own Discord server and early access to content. The agent, guardian, and master levels get exclusive content, exclusive downloads, monthly Python automations, live streams with me every single month, plus so much more. And to join, you can simply click the link in the description below and you will be able to choose the tier for which you want to join. I really hope I see you in the Discord chats. If not, I hope I see you in the comment section. It's your boy Hank Hackerson at Hank Hacks Hackers, your favorite network and system attacker / protector. If no one else loves you, Hank loves you. Love, peace, and chicken grease. And I will see you in the next video later.